My name is Rui Mata. This study has been already published in the Journal of Human Sport and Exercise, and this presentation is about winning or not winning, the influence on coach-athlete relationship and goal achievement. This is our research group: adaptation, performance, and human development, with two main domains: a sport context and a work context. These are the researchers, and these are the gorgeous collaborators. Some topics of interest on leadership research: observation of coaches' actions and leadership styles, which are most related to performance, and analyzing the impact of leadership on athletes' psychological and emotional well-being. Examples: satisfaction and compatibility. This study integrates traditional models of sport leadership, example, multidimensional model of leadership, and some recent advances proposed by charismatic and transformational leadership approaches. Some data: adolescents of group sports that use a transformational leadership style were more positively assessed. Intrinsic motivation is a moderating variable of leadership effect. This study was conducted with university athletes. And in ice hockey athletes, transformational leadership promoted less aggressive behaviors. Some opportunities of research: there are few studies in sports that assess transformational variables. The published studies don't use a particular scale for sports, and to relate the athlete's psychological impact of leadership with their personal and group performance. We had two main goals: to analyze the differences between teams with support success. This group was composed by two teams, one that had won the first division volleyball championship, and the other team that had won the Portuguese Volleyball Cup, and teams without sport success that didn't win anything in that season, in 2 moments before and after the playoffs, on leadership, satisfaction, compatibility. And second, to evaluate the differences between teams with support success and teams without support success after the playoffs on personal and team goal achievement. The study included 66 participants. The teams with support success were composed by 21 athletes, corresponding to 31.8% of the sample, with ages between 18 and 38. The teams without support success were composed by 45 athletes, corresponding to 68.2% of the sample, with ages between 17 and 34. We used 4 instruments: multidimensional scale of leadership in sports that assesses leadership behaviors assumed by coaches, with 9 dimensions: vision, inspiration, technical instruction, personal respect, personal support, positive feedback, negative feedback, active and passive management. Athlete Satisfaction Questionnaire that assesses athlete satisfaction with coach's leadership, with 4 dimensions: ability utilization, strategy, personal treatment, training and instruction. Coach-athlete compatibility measure that assesses the overall compatibility between coach and athletes with one dimension, coach-athlete compatibility. And performance goal incongruence scale that assesses athletes' goal achievement with two dimensions, personal and team goals. In the analysis procedures, we tested the alpha values of each subscale. The values found were acceptable, giving favorable indications of the constitution of the respective factors. Values were higher than 0.70. However, 4 scales, vision, personal support, negative feedback, and passive management, presented values above 0.60 and were accepted because they included only 4 items. Additionally, using an analysis of variance with repeated measures, we tried to understand the differences between teams with support success and teams without support success in 2 moments, before and after the playoffs, on leadership, compatibility, and satisfaction dimensions. Finally, we tried to understand the differences between these 2 groups of teams on goal achievement using a MANOVA. Concerning to the results, and starting by the leadership dimensions, we observed always the same pattern. While teams without support success obtain lower values after the playoffs, teams with support success presented higher values after the playoffs. As you can see, in the left side of the graph, the values were higher. This means that there was an increasement of the scores corresponding to the teams with support success, the winning teams. In the right side of the graph, there was a decreasement corresponding to the teams without support success. This means that the winning teams had a more positive evaluation of the coaches' behaviors after the playoffs. And this happened for vision, although in this case there were marginal differences, inspiration, technical instruction, positive feedback, and active management. We also observed the same pattern in satisfaction with strategy. As you can see, teams with sport success, winning teams, had a more positive assessment in this dimension after the playoffs, in the second moment. Finally, the winning teams presented a more positive perception on personal and team goals. Conclusion. First, winning teams evaluated more positively their coaches on transformational dimensions, transactional dimensions, and satisfaction with strategy. We didn't notice compatibility differences. Third, winning teams evaluated more positively on personal and team goals. And overall, winning influences athletes' evaluation of their coaches, particularly on transformational leadership and successful management of sports tasks. Thanks for your attention.